Most of you might have already seen AMD's presentation of Ryzen 7000 series CPUs. The performance shown at Computex looked really promising because one of the Raphael CPUs shown reached 5.5 GHz frequency. However, some specs are really controversial. We all are waiting for Raphael and Raptor Lake to collide with each other, and at Computex we got some good info on Raphael CPUs. Here the most interesting part was when Dr. Lisa showed the gameplay footage of Ghostwire Tokyo. The Ryzen 7000 CPU used for that game was hovering around 5.5 GHz of frequency, which was much more than what was rumored before. Most of the time that frequency remained around that number consistently, which is really good for gaming. Dr. Lisa also showed the actual Ryzen 7000 processor in her hand, which is identical to the 5800X 3D. It was obvious that the design is going to be similar as that of 5800X 3D. Ryzen 7000 series is a big step up in terms of design compared to the 5000 CPUs. These CPUs come with 2 core chiplets based on Zen 4 architecture with having up to 8 cores each, which we are going to see in flagship CPUs like the Ryzen 7950X. The third and the bigger die is the IO die that is based on 6nm and is responsible to get RDNA2 graphics and DDR5 support on board. However, when Dr. Lisa showed a slide about key features of Ryzen 7000 CPUs, there was something odd. It shows that the CPU features 2 times more memory for L2 cache and 15% single thread uplift. Now previously we heard rumors about Ryzen 7000 CPUs to feature up to 24% IPC gain over Zen 3, but this is not the IPC gain but the single thread uplift, which is different. Although AMD didn't mention anything about IPC gain of Zen 4, with the already present rumor, it was estimated that the single-threaded performance would increase by 28 to 37%. So we are looking less than 50% improvement in single-threaded performance according to AMD's own slide. One thing more to note is that there is a footnote for 15% single-thread uplift, which states that this improvement was achieved in Cinebench R23 compared to the Ryzen 5950X. This can mean that AMD's claim of more than 15% single-thread performance can come true, and it might reach up to 20% or more. But at the same time, why would a company show its worst performance in the presentation? This is unusual and we need more benchmarks to confirm this. On the other hand, we are seeing roughly 300 MHz more on the clock speeds that we heard before, and that too without any overclocking as told by AMD's Robert Hallock. Moreover, the 5.2 to 5.5 GHz on all threads is going to be normal in games, so it is making things confusing, and we don't have substantial data to prove whether this translates to lower or higher performance gap between Zen 3 and Zen 4 compared to the performance difference between Zen 2 and Zen 3. Well, we will wait and see what comes next, but with regards to GPUs, AMD didn't share any information, and so was the case by Nvidia. Perhaps Nvidia's Computex presentation was the most boring. They didn't had anything for gamers. They didn't even say a word about Ada Lovelace GPUs. However, they did team up with Asus to release a brand new G-Sync compatible gaming monitor that features 500Hz refresh rate, which is the highest till date. Even though it is looking monstrous in performance, this is ridiculous. You will need at least an RTX 3090 Ti or better to achieve 500 FPS. And speaking about gaming performance, Intel's 14th Gen Meteor Lake CPUs are set to bring a dedicated GPU chip on the CPU itself. Watch this video right here where I talk about the multi-chiplet design for Meteor Lake CPUs that is going to change the working of CPUs forever. Also make sure you get subscribed for such upcoming videos, and I will see you next time.